It is 7 o'clock. We are here live in the house on April 12th, 2022. And for another Marketing Made Easy, welcome to the show. My name is Joey Ragona. It's good to have you here live, and it's good to have you here on the replay. It's kind of weird saying that right off the top of the show because we just started, but hey, you get what I'm talking about, right? Good to have you here. We are going to have an amazing show as always because, hey, I've got one of my best friends in the world, Scott Vogel, and he is here every single Tuesday, and that's just the reason why these are incredible shows. So, welcome, Scott.
Thanks, Joey. And yeah, it's just, I was having a conversation today with a fellow I met. I was just chatting with you before we went live about this gentleman that I met totally through somebody else. And the conversation was all about what we talk about, heart-centered marketing and not being pushy and all this stuff. And it was just so refreshing to have a conversation with someone. And then I was on a conversation with somebody else who their energy was so like ucky. And I was contemplating looking for a couple of projects, copywriting this. And 10 minutes into this, I was like, no, this isn't me. I'm out. I'm not.
You trust your gut, right? I mean, when you can feel somebody drain your energy right away. They're the anti-avatars.
It was immediate anti-avatar energy draining. And had I even gone even any further in just an initial conversation, I just felt the energy being sucked from me. And I was like, you know what? Stop. Let me go find you somebody that can help you. And I went and found somebody and said, hey, she needs some help. She's struggling with this and that. But again, I knew what she needed. I knew her dream client. I knew what her space she was in. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's so important to work with people that just light you up and charge your batteries.
Yeah.
And just chasing after money is the wrong thing to do it because eventually it's going to burn you out too. So hey Monica, good to see you. Thanks Petra for letting us know you are here live, and thank you for that amazing. I don't even know what you call that. It was like it brought me back to the old days of like little clips on television or something that she did this amazing video inside the group. Which was, I'm just going to give a plug for the group. Come on into the group and check it out because it was amazing.
Well, it was an amazing video on top of the Pattern Interrupt by Monica Murphy of posting I obviously on Tuesdays look forward to waking up and seeing what artistry did Monica come up with. And all of a sudden it was yesterday and I was totally confused.
Yeah.
Threw me off. Just like didn't know what to do all day. And then today, not only was that, but then Petra made a video with some cool cartoon stuff. And I know where she got the stuff from. It's cool stuff. And it's amazing just to see everyone getting involved in the tribe and supporting what we're doing and being a part of this heart-centered marketing club. And as you did post that for those watching live that aren't part of Heart-Centered Marketing Club, come join us. And for those that are on the replay, come join us. For those that aren't even watching, come join us anyway. And I'm not sure how it will happen.
You'll love the group because it's a no-pitch group. It's not one of these groups you get into and you get sucked into, come on and watch this webinar thingy. We're going to sell you a whole bunch of stuff. We are there to support you. We are there to love you up and just give you guidance and advice and move you along momentum. Every now and then, I'll throw in an invite to whatever I'm doing. If it's right for you, then great. But that's not how it all works. It's not one of these pitch fest thingies that you might be used to. That's why we keep the tribe very tight. And with amazing people that are already on this call, like Kay Hutchinson, she's in the house.
Hello, Kay. Yay, tribe mate. And Joey, I was having a conversation with someone else and basically talking about repelling more than you attract because they're like, I want this, I want this, I want that. I was like, no. You only want who you want. You only want that dream client. And I've been seeing over the past few months more and more people as Atlas evolves, as Elite evolves, as VIP evolves, and more people are getting more comfortable with the philosophy and concept that here we are serving. And it's just a joy to watch the comments that are in the group of, I just did a cohort and I had 2 dream clients. I had 8,000 people on my webinar and I converted 2.7% to click. And then the opt-in was this and I ended up with this. And it's like, and I know that, Joey. I've played that for the last couple of years. And, I'm transitioning back to what I love and spending more time in our group and playing more with what I love and not
Yeah.
just that. So yeah.
And you know what's a really cool thing about it too is the mindset around it. You know, like there used to be, and there still is out there, but in our tribe, it's like, man, I got two people and I enjoyed it. It was so amazing, as opposed to, oh man, I only got two people and it
Right.
sucked. And I was supposed to, like, the mindset is completely different.
Well,
Perspectives are different because that's where it all begins. It all begins with one, maybe two, and that is amazing because it's all around what you just said. It's around who are these people that I could serve? And if it's one person you're serving, fantastic. If it's two, whatever. And that perspective changes everything. And I think that the world, or I know, I don't even think, I know for a fact now that the world knows it. Like your dream customers feel it and they know it. When you're there serving, they know. They
well,
feel it.
so we were talking before we went live of there's so many people, quote unquote, old school,
Yeah.
who have been out there in the brick and mortar, out there in the world, and it's not a choice anymore. If you're not online doing business, then you're probably going to end up out of business at some point
Mhm.
because that's just the reality of the world. These thingies, these devices make it so that everybody is in the digital world.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kay is right. Monica and Petch are truly inspiring artists that awaken all of us. We are blessed as tribe mates.
I expect you won't be in time for the updated trailer, so I did
Oh,
what
it
had to
did
be
what had
done.
to be done.
Oh, that the trailer for the show. Yeah, yeah. I
Right.
updated the picture though, but
You
I
did,
didn't.
and thank you for updating the picture. And it's just such a contrast, Joey, seeing my picture of where I am now and where I was a year or so ago when we first did that picture of an old picture. It's like, oh
That
my,
was actually 2 years ago. So I looked at it, couldn't believe it was 2020 when
yeah,
that little graphic thingy was done. I'm like, wow. So we've
yeah.
been at this for so long. It's amazing. Wow,
I remember where I took that picture, and that picture was in a place I was living in 2.5 years ago.
amazing.
So it really is how things change and how lives change and how everything changes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Scott and Joey. Also, that awesome post on the launch pages. So generous of both of you to gift in that group. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. If you're not in the group, please get in the group if you're heart centered, especially if you're heart centered and you just want to serve people in a non pressure way and all that cool stuff. But Scott did an amazing landing page tutorial thingy of insight of just letting his brain go and teaching us some stuff. So I figured, why not share that with the world too? And that's what we're here to do today. We're here to talk about the 5 steps or the 5 things that go on in
How's
the
that
online
for
world.
pattern interrupt, Joey? Having people walk in towels for you, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Joey's
for
like,
sure.
what the heck is going on?
Wow. Okay. um,
I'm bringing in everything I can to mess you up, Joey. It ain't just me anymore. Okay,
it
moving
was
on.
funny.
So,
This is. I have to tell you this now because now it's interrupted, but it's a cool thing.
yeah,
When I was on the radio, and this, I brought in a few people to talk. We always bring people to talk on the air, right?
yep.
And there, I'll really shorten this up, but it was really funny. Anyway, this girl sits on this chair in the chair, and she starts talking to me, and she leans back, and the chair breaks. So we're live. So now she's on. She's not only did the chair break, and it's live on the air, but now she's wedged between the wall and the desk, and her feet are straight up almost in the air, and she couldn't move. Like it was just wedged the way it just fell. And this is live, and we're just like, oh my god, trying not to laugh to try and get off the air and trying to get to the next page. That was pretty funny. So that was not obviously visual, but
Well, hey, it's like, today I was on a call with this fellow that told you I met for the first time, and he's like wearing a t-shirt, and I'm wearing a t-shirt, and it's like, this is who we are. This is how we show up. This is
yeah,
live. This is real. This isn't like, okay, Joey, let's clean up and let's put on a shirt with an Oxford button-down collar, and let's get all professional, and let's do the wow, thank you, Kay. I spent the day revamping my landing pages because of that inspiration and your tips. I love it. I want to see it too.
so let's
Yeah.
get right into this, man. Let's get into the tips. Like, so let's. What do you got for us?
Well, you had said this is the first time ever in like 100 and some odd episodes that you're like, well, can you come up with 5 tips? And I was like, okay. So I don't know. Is Lorna on the call tonight? Because she talked about this last week, and I kind of went with the Joey Ragona new method.
That's
And
the Brendan Burchard Joey Ragona stolen method.
yeah, exactly. The Brendan Richard. So you asked me if I could come up with 5 tips. And before I go into the 5 tips and unveil each of them, which are all different colors,
She's
lovely.
here, by the way.
Yay, Lorna. See, Lorna, you inspired me to do a Brendan Joey or Joey Brendan Lorna type. And before I get into it, the reason that this is really so important is this truly is in the online space. It's the first exposure that people have to us. We talk about the 3 pieces, and the third piece that we talked about last time was on their timeline. Well, if somebody gets to your landing page at 4 o'clock in the morning, or your opt-in squeeze page, whatever you want to call it, it's got to tell them exactly what they need to see and hear. So the first one, how's that for a ripoff? The first one is the desperate problem. That's the first thing that needs to be seen on your page is, and you use it, what is the crisis? What is it that they're going through? And you know that I like to talk about if we were an elf on their nightstand and they woke up and put their feet on the floor, what's going through their head? What is the pain, the frustration, the struggle? Or the flip side is, what is that solution, advantage, benefit, answer that they're looking for? And of course, they're not waking up saying, I'm looking for the Heart-Centered Marketing Club. They're not waking up looking for that as much as we'd like them to. They're not waking up, yes, Lorna, it is so much better than expensive smart boards, whiteboards, or whatever they are. You look at people that have gotten so far advanced with all this technology, and we've seen a lot of the gurus go that direction. That's why I love my whiteboard. And we joked in one of our masterminds, my pen pad. I like to take a pad and a pen. Somebody asked me if I do journaling. I'm like, yeah, I got one here, there. I got things everywhere, Post-it notes and cards and that. And I think it's just much more real. That's what we are, is real, rather than, ooh, that's slick and that's fancy. And no, I'm not going to put together a PowerPoint presentation. And we didn't do it the other night, and I'm not going to do it tonight, because why spend all that time when, one, what is the desperate problem? What is the crisis? And that's got to be the first thing they see on any page. And I'm kind of playing a little bit off of Glenn Livingston and Terry Dean's persuasive architecture. I'm playing with the 5 pieces and kind of integrating like we always do. We take from others, and then we integrate it and blend it with what we know works, what we've tested, what we've played with. Right. I like to integrate Jeffrey, the Eisenberg brothers, and call to action as well in this. So I'm really putting together a lot of different elements here. And the first one is, if they see what's going on in their mind, if we can join the conversation in their head that says, hey, I'm struggling with this. Again, I'm going to talk about right marketing copy. I'm going to talk about copy bank. I'm going to talk about the dream client is, what is the languaging and all the research we've done. And I know you've got another right marketing copy coming up in the near future, where you're going to teach everybody, how do you do that? Because we're not all copywriters. We haven't studied everything and read every book and written hundreds of pieces of copy and emails and landing pages. And it doesn't have to be that way. If we can simply say, from learning the languaging, as you and I have talked about for years now, gosh, the sound of that, we've talked about that for years.
Yeah,
now.
For sure.
It's just wonderful. That first piece is the headline. What is the desperate problem, the crisis? And if they can say, oh my God, that's me. I am struggling with that. And not that, are you frustrated with spending too much time on this? It's got to get more specific than that, because the generic, are you frustrated? Are you anxious? Are you nervous? Are you struggling? It's got to get more specific than that to key in the problem. I remember looking at somebody's page. It was about horses, and it was like, canter with confidence. And I know horse people, and I said, does that mean anything? They go, nobody talks like that. We got to talk the way they talk. We've got to get into their heads. And right. Perry Marshall talks about burrowing into their minds and really understanding, what are they thinking about? And if I can put on my page exactly what you're thinking about, then you're going to look at it. You're going to stop. I'm going to interrupt the pattern, and you're going to join my conversation, because it's your conversation.
Right.
I think one of the biggest challenges that we see on landing pages, and again, I don't care if it's an opt-in page, a squeeze page, a landing page, a sales page, is, hi, here's my picture, here's me, here's what I do. Guess what? I don't care. I don't yet care about you. Later on down the road, I will care about you because I need you. But right now, I don't need you. I need to fix me. I need to fix my problem. And that's number one, is what is the desperate problem? What is the crisis that they're experiencing? And we talk about that a lot. Anything that you want to input on that, Joey, for number one?
No, I mean you've basically said it all. I like the direct call to the specific problem, and what is either the solution or the problem, and however you want to start it, positively or negatively, if
Right.
you want to call it that. I know that is it Joe Sugarman or the other dude, I forget now, who we did an episode on that where we took away the negative piece, and he has three pieces.
Right.
I think it was Joe Sugarman that we did an
Well,
episode on
again, yeah,
that.
the fear of loss or the desire of gain. Those are the only two things. There's pain and there's pleasure. There's good and there's bad. There's only
Yeah, but
two.
remember we did an episode on just the three. There was just three components of it,
Right.
and now I'm going to go look for it as you're talking because now it's just
Well, I should hope that you're going to go look for it in your Evernote thingy. And I loved what you said, by the way, in the Kajabi group today in response to somebody. Somebody asked a question about, what happens if somebody tries to sign up for my course a second time? And one of the responses was, well, I keep track of everybody that signs up. And if I recognize them, and you're like, why would I keep track of all of that stuff when I
well,
can
no. That's not the context. I got to correct you. It's like I remember everybody I spoke to,
Right.
and that's different than keeping track of because I keep track of a lot of stuff,
Right.
and so I do. It's not that I forget everybody, but I don't keep things in my brain
Right.
that I don't need to keep there.
Yeah,
I just want to frame the context the right way because it is important to track a lot of stuff.
it
And
is.
anyway, yeah.
Well, what is important, it kind of goes to Henry Ford was in a courtroom once and somebody accused him of being an idiot. And he's like, well, I might be, but you see that telephone over there? I can call anybody and get any answer. I know with you, you're not an idiot, obviously. Well, we can debate that on another time.
Yeah, we that could be another show. We can debate that all the way to
Another show. Is Joey an idiot? Question mark. Okay, moving on to number two. Let me see if the reveal, is there a certain way to reveal? Do you peel slowly? Do you
All right, it's totally your show. It's all up to you.
Okay, good. This is a peel slowly. What is the unique promise? That's number two. Unique promise. Okay, that's the second thing that has to happen. What is your unique promise? And again, it's got to be more specific than just, well, I promise to improve your life. I promise to help you do this. It's got to be specific in what is your unique promise because they've seen everything out there. They've heard everything. And it's like, I'm going to help you simply write copy without having to read any books, without having to take any courses, without having to do all that stuff. Wow, that's cool. I can't write copy. I can't get my people to read my stuff. Well, my promise is I'm going to show you how to do it without going through all that, without reading every book, because we see posted in groups, it's like, I need copy. Oh, read this person's book and read this person's group and that book and this book and that book. And it's like, who's got time to sit and read a book?
Yeah.
You can. Lisandro, I like that. Lisandro. I hope I pronounce it right. Gallardon. That's awesome. Anyway, yeah. So the second thing is, what is your unique promise? And that's the important word, is unique. And don't just say, I'm going to save you time and I'm going to save you money and I'm going to make your life easier. That's too broad. That's too generic.
Well, speaking of that, now because you brought up the promise, I did find the episode that we did, and it was episode number 68. It was Joe Vitale. The hypnotic framework, and it starts with the promise. So he removes the pain. So the framework is promise, proof, and price. And remember, we worked on it. So it was like, here's what the promise is, and so yours, I still have your the stuff we were working on with the video thing was want to create professional videos fast and easy so you get your message out to the world. So that's the promise, and then the proof is. Fast Video Creator gives you the built-in templates, images, and even audio tracks to make a video with a couple of clicks of the mouse in less than 5 minutes. And for only $297, now we're getting into the price,
Right.
you can be creating video content and marketing messages by the end of the day. Just click here, or just opt in here, or whatever it is. So I really like that framework.
Yeah, I love that framework too. And again, it's kind of integrating 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Because making the promise is, if I promise you that I'm going to help you do this, it pretty much says that I'm going to help you fix the problem by making the promise. I promise I'm going to love you forever. Well,
Yeah.
that's a promise, and I am going to love you forever, Joey, no matter what.
Back at you.
And thank you. And that goes to, I don't need to say, Joey, if you don't have enough love and you're kind of sad, I'm going to love you forever. That's a given. That's already in there by saying, I promise to love you forever. That means you already know that not enough people have told you love you forever. Anyway, so let's move on to number 3.
Number 3.
This is my when I need to like do cool stuff. This is kind of what happens on my pad.
Very cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love doodles.
I doodle and I play with stuff that here's when I was learning to draw stuff. just sharing,
Did you do the turtle too? When they put the newspaper, you do the turtle thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3. I'm going to reveal it a different way above my head. Overwhelming proof. And you talked about that. And Kay said, love that. Petra helped me realize I had my promise too low on the page. So I put right up the top on the page. Makes a huge difference. Of course it does. It's got to be, all this needs to happen above the fold. And when we talk about above the fold, we're talking about newspapers. And when you see a newspaper on the stand or in the window or wherever it is, above the fold is newspapers folded in half. And you see the headline and you see the top story, that's above the fold. We need all of this to be above the fold, because guess what? They're not going to scroll down thinking, oh, I'm going to read all the way down the page to the good stuff. I saw a page today that I was looking at for somebody, and the meat and the potatoes, the real good stuff, was buried at the bottom.
It's amazing.
And it's like, I remember when I first
And what was at the top? What was at the top?
Their stuff, their logo, their picture, their that.
Me.
Right. It goes back to Yellow Pages, when I used to write Yellow Page ads back in the days. And everybody had their logo first. I don't give it. Nobody, who cares about your logo and your company name? And everybody starts with that in most advertising. Just look at anything to this day. It's, here's my logo. Here's
there has to be context around this too, because there is a place for brand recognition, brand, and that's where people get mistaken. They're like, well, that's what Coke does. That's what Pepsi does. That's what the other guru in the industry does. Well, they've been doing it for 25 years and they're already recognized. So they're in brand protection mode and brand recognition. They're not in brand building mode. There's a completely different thing here.
It's different when you have a few $1 billion. Also.
It's not even about the money, though. It's not even about that. Like that's true, but it's like we're comparing. Well, look at that guy, and he's doing that, but you're just starting out, so you're thinking I've got to do the exact same thing. No, you have to build your brand or build whatever you want to call it, and the way you do that, in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, is by being everything about them. It's all about them. They are the hero. Right. You are just there to support them. Right. And it's like your little picture down here and go, like, I'm good. I'm good. Here's how I help you.
Right.
But it's more about, here's the problems and all the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then they want to know, well, who the hell are you to tell me this? That's when you come in and say, here's my credentials.
Well, they're not ready. Yes, you want brand awareness. You want your credentials, but they're not ready for it in the beginning. We've talked about that. Chris Rock. You send your representative on the first date anytime you go out. Well, you need to send the representative. And so number 3 is overwhelming proof. And
right.
What's your thoughts about overwhelming proof?
What if you don't have them?
Okay, that's why I wanted to ask you. What if you don't have overwhelming proof? I've got the answer. I want to know what your answer is. It's my show again.
Yeah, exactly. It's your show.
You gave me the show. So what do you say about overwhelming proof? Because most people say, I don't have any proof. I don't have any testimony.
Okay, well, it depends on how you look at proof. That's why I just wanted to give the example from the Joe Vitale show that we did. Yeah. So the proof is really about it's part of the promise. Here's how do I explain this? It's like I'm going to prove this to you, and here's what I'm going to prove. Yeah. So there's a different way of using the proof element. If you don't have anything, it's an extension of the promise. Here's the promise, and I'm going to prove it to you by doing this thing. Then later, you go through it and you exactly get that and go, when Scott did it, here's what he got, and then you can take that out and use those as testimonials.
Exactly. And in the beginning, the proof could simply be your system, your process,
Right.
your experience, your education, your journey. It doesn't have to be. It could be, here's how I came to know this stuff. Here was my journey. And Perry Belcher talks about it in the Blackie story, in the connection story. It could just be as simple like, look, I struggled for years at this, but then I figured this out, and I learned this from this, and I learned this from this. I was putting a post in one of the groups today, and it was like, yeah, you and I have read between us, who knows how many thousands of books, and attended who knows how many, and listened to, and done, and this, and that, and that. And if nothing else, if I didn't have testimonials from people and overwhelming proof, the overwhelming proof is I've been doing this. I was a professional speaker, trainer, consultant. I've written books. I've worked with this client and this client and this client and this company and this company. Well, gosh, that's overwhelming proof that you've done this. It could just be what you've done, how you got to where you are. Because again, overwhelming proof could be, look, I figured this thing out. I got this system, this process. It could be that without. People spend a lot of time saying, well, I don't have any testimonies. You don't need them right now.
Yeah, it's again, that's why we're trying to give you different perspectives here on like what proof is, all these elements, and it's not just one way. Like proof doesn't mean that somebody's gone through it and has got the outcome. It's like everything you're saying here. So I want to reiterate that, make sure that everybody knows that, because we all have to start somewhere. We don't start with people who've done anything with us. It's our experience and our proof that I call it life tuition. Because we've all put in life tuition, and nobody pays the same life tuition, and we're continuing to do it, which is building proof and credibility and experience. And put that on the page.
Yeah, and Kay said proof can be a sample that shows them how powerful it is, as well as client testimonials.
Yeah.
And
journey. Do you want to deal with this one right now, or do you want to come back to it?
Let's deal with it right now.
All right.
Now, did I pronounce Lisandro Gallardon correct? I hope so. I love that name. I just want to say it all the time.
Very cool name.
And I also love the favicon there and the tree in the background and the colors. Is it okay, my message? I teach poets, writers, and sensitive people to unleash their creative genius. Use the most powerful tools of the mind and the most sophisticated resources of language. Expand their awareness and inspiration so they become the spiritual poet they feel inside and write poems of the highest quality. Publish books and teach others how to do it. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a long one.
It's a long one. I would like to first see, what's the one thing that you could pull out of there, Lisandro? Like, what's the one thing that they really want more than anything? That's huge. And I would want to cut that down and pull out. And I know that Lorna's on the call, and Kay and Monica and others that understand this, that have been with us long enough to pull out what's in there. And that's the beauty of this tribe, is they've learned by now that what do I need to, I teach poets, writers, and sensitive people. So there's 3 different audiences, which is kind of the same. Sensitive people, I'm not too sure about, to unleash their creative genius. That's pretty broad, creative genius. Use the most powerful tools of the mind. Again, that's very broad. I don't know what the most powerful tools of the mind are, because if I did, I'd already be using them probably. And the most sophisticated resources of language. That's a bit complicated there. The most sophisticated resources of language, I'd probably pull that out. Expand their awareness and inspiration, very broad, very vague. So they become, okay, here we go. So they become the spiritual poet they feel inside. I would want to know if that's the languaging that they're speaking is. Do I, as a poet writer, want to become a spiritual poet that I feel inside? And do I feel that inside? And is that the dream client, the target audience that wants to? Are they waking up saying, gosh, I wish I could become a spiritual poet? And if that is the language, great. And write poems of the highest quality. I don't know if I want to write a high quality poem. I think I want to write a poem that speaks to my soul and my spirit and my heart and what I want to share with the world. I don't know that I would want, as a poet, want to share a poem of the highest quality. I don't think Shakespeare wrote thinking high quality and publish books and teach others how to do it. There's a lot going on in there. There's three things there: write poems, publish books,
Right.
and teach others. Pick one.
Yeah, that was my first thought when I first saw that.
Well,
But what I suggest is also is just cut it in half. Like you can jump and then you can refine it as well. But go from I teach poets, writers, and sensitive people to unleash their creative genius, so they become. And so just cut out the whole middle. You don't need powerful tools of the mind, sophisticated resources, language. Just cut it down and see how that looks to you, and then start playing with more specific language if you want it there. But cut it all down, because most of the times you're selling, like, they don't care about tools. Like if somebody really wants to be a spiritual poet, or they want to write better poetry, they don't care about the tools, and they don't care about resources. They just want to know, how do I unleash my creativity? And so that is like real estate that you're using, that you're paying $100 a word for. That's the way I look at it. Every word is worth $100. And would you pay for that $100 word?
Yeah, and I'm going to take what you did, Joey, and I would write it as: I teach poets and writers to unleash their creative genius and write, and become spiritual poets.
Yeah, like choose one of them. Like which one do you want to be, and that's it.
Right, and draw from the depths of your spirit from inside.
Yeah,
and forget about published books and teach others how to do it. It's kind of like with Atlas and with WMC. You're not saying, well, I'm going to teach you how to write copy so that you can do this, so you can do this, so you can do this. It's like, I'm going to show you the quickest, easiest way to get the languaging right, so your dream client will come closer to you.
To me, Scott, like one of the and Lorna is teaching about how to write, or teach them how to teach. Yeah, that was the question. Like, what do they really want?
Right.
You're throwing like everything into the mix.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite frameworks that I like to use, because this is not a landing page thing. This is more of a, this is what I do thing.
Wait. Aren't we supposed to stay on topic on these shows, Joey?
I think so.
Isn't that the framework? No.
It's kind of the framework, but we've never really done that before. So why break the mold? Right. So
let me go back and find the rules of the framework.
Yeah. What did I sign on for here? I got to go back and look at my contract.
What am I up for here 117 weeks ago? That's crazy. I got to say that again, Joey. That's crazy. What, 117? Is that the show?
115.
115. Talk about when I first did my 100 days of Bikram yoga in a row, and someone's like, well, what'd you learn from it? That I can do what I commit to. And we didn't even commit to anything. It was like, hey, bro, why don't you join me on the show? Like, okay, well, what are you doing next week? You want to join me? Sure. What are you doing next week? I mean, 115 weeks in a row to do anything consistently. And just, again, for anybody watching, whether it's live, whether it's on the replay, and hashtag live, if you're live with us, please, and give us some love, some hearts, some flowers, some fireworks going off. Where's Angel been? She always knew how to do those firework thingies and the sparkly thingies. So I know she's been busy. She's staying in her lane. I reached out to her recently. That's an important thing, staying in your lane and doing what you're doing and showing up consistently as who you are, even though it's a struggle sometimes. We decided to last week get on a whatever you called it. We have no idea what we're talking about. And we just went live. I got on with you. I said, let's just go live. And then you're like, well, wait a second. We've been talking about landing pages. And then today you're like, let's talk about it more and condense it into the 5 things, which we kind of talked about in our 30-minute call that lasted an hour and 15 minutes, which is kind of standard for what we do. Hey, bro, I need you for 5 minutes, 2 hours later.
Right, exactly.
We unpack things and we look at things. And when it becomes interesting and exciting, we do that.
It's incredible.
Going back to pull up Lisandro's again, please.
Yeah, and so to this point here is one of the things where when I see something like this, Lisandro, is where if you're trying to say it all in one thing, it might, and there's nothing wrong with it, because even when I'm teaching this to any students, and like in Atlas, actually, there's the big dream statement. It's like, I don't know how many things there are, but it's a huge one. It's long, and if I brought it up here, Scott would say the same thing. Oh my God, there's a lot going on here, right? But I like to start sometimes that way, and then you can always condense it, because if you get the long one really, really tight, which is hard to do, then you can condense them down into short statements, because you don't only have one statement, by the way. And this is for everybody. Like, it's not just one statement. And so the way that I look at this is when somebody says, what do you do? you want to invite them into a conversation. You want to pique their interest, not give them the entire
Right.
formula and then they're like, "Oh, okay, thanks very much." Like that, you don't want that. You want them
Yeah.
to say, "How do you do that?"
Yeah.
Or "What do you mean by that?" So I'll give you an example. I go this example all the time, but it'll make sense to everybody, which is when people were asking me what do I do when I was in real estate investing, and I say, those people who just they open up their mutual fund statements and they know that they don't want to do that because they lost all this money. And they're like, yeah. I go, I just help them stop losing money. And I stop, and that was it. There's no how do I do it. There's no what I do. There's no nothing there. And if they're into it, they're like, how? What are you talking about? Then they want to continue the conversation. And that's where you can bond. Like that's where it all begins. But that's a whole other route of the conversation. But anyway.
Okay. So as you were talking, thank you. You gave me an opportunity. And teach, I don't like the word teach. Teach, I believe, reminds, even though that's what you're doing, is teaching is like, I don't want to teach. I went to school and I didn't like my teacher. I help poets and sensitive people unleash their creative genius. So they become the spiritual poets and write from the depths of their heart, soul, and spirit. And that's just, that's one thing. Yeah, it's kind of like going out on a date and talking about everything that you're going to do. We're going to go here, and we're going to go there, and we're going to travel here, and we're going to do this, we're going to have these experiences and that. It's like, no, we're going to like have a really good time tonight, and we're going to go and do your favorite thing. Not tell me every single thing, and we're going to do it all tonight.
Right.
We're going to take you to the movies. We're going to go to the carnival, and then we go to the museum, and then we're going to go here, and then we're going to go to the pottery studio, and then we're going to go here. We're going to go to a seminar, go to a workshop. And like, whoa, wait a second. Let me just see if it's okay to go and do the first thing with you. And so here's Kay's contribution, and thank you. And this is what I love about this tribe. This is what I love about this show, is everybody gets involved. And I teach sensitive writers how to access their creative genius to craft works that awaken and enlighten people deeply. Wow. Thank you. Lisandro, what do you think of what Kay shared? And this is how this is done. This is the process by playing with it. It's not just like, okay, I wrote it, I edited it, I'm done. You and I, how long have we been beating up what you do?
Oh, like it's constant. It's never ending. Like if I showed my Evernote of
Right.
all of my, promise statements, I'm constantly innovating it. I'm constantly looking at it, going, what can I make it better? How can I make it clearer? So, and for anybody, and this is like for everyone, is like it's so important to listen to what your audience says, and that's where the language comes from.
Yeah.
And so and we do have to start sometimes with a guest if we don't have a lot of conversations with our audiences, but that's where the gold comes from. You and I both know this. We talk about this a lot, and that's where unfortunately so many people skip it because they're like, I don't want to do the research, I don't want to talk to people, I just want to get my thing out and sell it. And then they can't sell it, and the reason why is because they haven't spoken to the audience.
And then they're looking at all the wrong things.
Yeah, and they're just guessing at language.
And that's why it's just so important that we did what we did, and we're doing it again.
Yeah.
Is here we go for those keeping track at home.
Number four.
The desperate problem. Number 2 is unique promise. Number 3 is overwhelming proof. And if we keep on like we always do, we're not even going to get to number 4. So number 4, I'm going to unveil quickly. ERCO. And you're like, Scott, what's an ERCO? ERCO is the irresistible, risk-free, compelling offer. And I'll take credit for that. I created that years ago when I was doing postcard marketing and I was doing copy. I needed to put out on a postcard that was delivered to somebody's home an offer that they would say, I would be an idiot not to take advantage of that. When you look at your offer, it has to hurt. You have to say, that is just like, I can't do that, Scott, that hurts. That's an irresistible, risk-free, compelling offer. They have to look at it and say, that is so completely irresistible. There's absolutely no risk on my part, and it's compelling. It's like, okay, here's the problem or the promise. Here's some proof. And now I want to give you something that's going to help you solve that problem or follow up on that promise. And that's where the irresistible, risk-free, compelling offer comes. And there's an irresistible, risk-free, compelling offer in anyone's And like I said, it's got to hurt. You got to look at it and say, I really can't do that. I'd be giving away the farm. I'm giving away my best stuff. Joey, have you ever heard anybody say, I can't give that away? That's my best stuff.
I was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
what's your
sure.
thoughts on that?
Pardon me?
What are your thoughts on giving away your best stuff?
Yeah, and it was Eben who opened my eyes back in 2012, and it was like, give away your best stuff, because the more you hide, they don't know how good you are. And it's like, if you go anywhere to like a demonstration or a Costco, they're out there giving you the food. They're out there giving you samples. They're doing things. They're demonstrating on HSN or whatever. They're doing things for a reason. And so it's, the more you hide, the more that the audience doesn't know how you can benefit them. So you're not going to run out of good stuff. And if you've only got one good thing, you better do some more. You better get some more experience behind you. But I've never run out of stuff to give. Never.
You can't. And even if you did give away your only one thing and it was your best thing, by giving it away, it's going to come back to you. Because now you've given it away, you've put it out there, and somebody starts to consume it and comes back and says, hey, that was cool. I learned this, this, and this. And what about this? And you're like, oh, I can easily talk about that. I can easily help you with this. And then there's the next thing. And like you said, if you've only got one thing, then you probably need to get a few more things or curate some things.
Yeah.
You and I, we talk about not only our stuff, we talk about everybody else's stuff.
Dude, that's all I do. My entire business is that. My entire business is standing on the shoulders of giants. That's all it is. And it's basically me simplifying methods.
Yeah.
And making something of my own. I don't steal it. I don't say it's mine. I curate it and put it into a simple system that I use, that I teach other people. And that is, it works for me, because I'm, that's, I guess, it's easier for me to do that because I love absorbing information, and I know that there's so much out there. So it's endless.
You know what, Joey? You and I have read a lot of the same books together.
Yeah.
And you say, read this book, and I read it, and then we talk about it. But what I get from it and what you get from it are completely different.
Right.
What my experience of all the years of doing what I've done and writing workbooks and training seminars and copy and marketing and just working with hundreds of different businesses and figuring out how to market it and how to write their copy and how to do what we're talking about here, and studying everything there is about landing pages and what works best and what doesn't, but then testing it and testing it and testing it and throwing it out there. And then taking, like, you and I unpacked Brant Pincidic's 3-minute rule for like weeks. We spent hours and hours, and we went through it, and we got stacks of cards that we arranged and organized and did it. And that's now a part of us that we bring in. And so we bring in this one and that one and this one and that one. I'm saying that some of what we're talking about today came from my studying of Glenn Livingston, who's a genius. He's a psychologist and really understands the human mind. And then there's a little Perry Marshall and Perry Belcher, and there's Joe Sugarman, and there's Joe Vitale, and there's Jeffrey Mark Eisenberg. All of that put in here that I don't care. Nobody else can put it together like you and I can, or like I can, and like you can.
That's right.
I put it together, and it's like the Venn diagram. I was talking about that today, was when you get together and do this. Like Lorna put in her copy about Lisandro, and Kay did, and now Lisandro's going to take what you said, what I said, and Collie's here with her soul hugs. See, I don't even have to read Collie's. I know there's love and soul hugs involved, and that love and soul hugs is about what Lisandro's writing about.
Yeah.
And yeah, Joey has a different kind of time clock. Joey is a different kind of time clock.
My clocks are broken. I
very bad. Have a clock, Joey.
I'm very bad with time.
Taking a nap.
Oh my God! Yeah. To ask my wife, I'm like, I'm going for 20. She's like, see you in 2 hours.
See you in 2 hours. I don't know who awesome Kay Hutchin is, but yeah, Kay is awesome.
All right, give us number 5, man. Give us number 5.
Yeah, number 5. Yeah. Okay. So number 5 is the reason to act now, or what we know it as the call to action.
Oops, wrong one. This one.
That's okay. It's all about you anyway.
Yeah.
Why should they do it now? Because there has to be a sense of urgency, and it's not the false sense of urgency.
So how do you? Okay, so like a couple of these last two sit in my mind, and I could be completely wrong here, but these are like more for sales page type of stuff. How do you translate those? So I'm asking for everybody. I'm asking for a friend right over here. And how do you translate those into a landing page? The
Okay.
ERCO and the last, and then this
Okay,
number
thank
here.
you for asking that question. So the ERCO, the irresistible risk-free compelling offer, it doesn't have to be a sales thing. It doesn't have to be a thing that you're going to sell for $1, $2, $7, or in the traditional sales funnels, your whatever, freebie, gift, tripwire, whatever you want to call it. It's that goes to the value piece. What can you give them of substance that is irresistible, risk free? I want to give you, we talked about, I want to give you something that's my best thing. It's my best tip. It's my best secret. It's my best tool that's going to help you fulfill that promise I just made you.
Oh, okay, so I see what you mean. So you've got the problem, you got the promise, and then you're going to say, and for me to fulfill this promise, I'm
Yes.
going to give you this thing, which is like my best thing ever, and
Yes.
that's the irresistible thing. Okay,
Correct.
got. And
Yeah.
then the next piece, what the next piece is?
Why
The
do you need
last.
to do it now? Which is
Yeah.
the reason to act now is it goes back to the problem and the promise is I want to help you solve this right now. And I don't want you waiting and I don't want you putting it off. I want you to do this. And it's only going to take you, 3 minutes to do this. Take this thing I gave you, watch this video, read this thing, download the PDF, whatever it is, make it so simple for me and tell me why I need to do it now. What is that ultimate benefit I'm going to get from it? It's part of the promise is, look, if you go get this thing right now, if you go get these 5 landing page tips that I just did, and I gave you the cheat sheet on the checklist, if you go get this right now and apply it to your landing page, the next time somebody actually goes on your page, you're going to see a better result from it. And that's
Okay.
what we want. So that's what I mean by the reason to act now is
Cool. Cool.
go do this now. Don't download the thing and put it off till later. And that's why when we unpacked it last time and I showed 5 different samples was don't give me a 32-page ebook. Don't give me the first 5 chapters of your book. Don't give me a 30-minute video. I'm never going to consume it.
Right. And by the way, if you want to, there's the replay inside the group where Scott did that. When did we do that? Saturday? I think we did that.
Oh, God.
But
Friday.
it's
Whatever. We did it like Friday.
you'll find it. I'm going to put the Facebook the link right here in the comments. If you want to join us inside the group, Scott did a full walkthrough. He showed us like I think 5 landing pages or something like that,
5 or 6 landing pages.
and then went through like how we would dissect them and correct them using a lot of these tips and even more. So I highly encourage you to join us in the group to check that out. And if you're already in the group, go check that out and watch it because it was brilliant. Thank you for doing that, Scott.
My pleasure. Thank you for holding the space and enabling me to do it and encouraging me. And another example to people is find somebody like Joey, find somebody like what we do, and just start doing this. It doesn't have to be a live show. It could just be getting on. I talked about in the group today where how did I learn the platform Kajabi? As I got into a mastermind and I found somebody that knew it better than I did, and he taught me, and then I started teaching him after a while because I was able to apply what I do to the platform. It didn't have anything to do with the platform. The platform was just a tool. So going back to your question of the ERCO, the irresistible risk-free compelling offer, it doesn't have to be a monetary thing. But again, you can use it for that. If you're trying to sell something, and this is another stage of it, then use the same thing. Irresistible risk-free compelling offer. I remember once we were marketing a restaurant on top of a hotel in Tampa, Florida, and the owner said, shut it down. You're doing 30 dinners a night. And they said, can you help us do it? I said, yeah, let's give away free steaks. And I remember being in somebody's home, a friend's in the target market area, and had the postcards sitting on there. I said, where'd you get that? Well, we got it in the mail. What are you doing with it? I was like, geez, we'd be an idiot not to take advantage of it. It's a free steak dinner. That was an irresistible risk-free compelling offer. It was totally free. And the accountant said, oh, you can't give away a steak. I said, yeah, we can because it was worth $300. So it doesn't have to be that. It could just be simple. And I want to reinforce that the first piece you give them has to be so good. It has to be easy to consume in a couple of minutes. Anybody that's like, oh, I'm going to give you all of my stuff, pick the best one thing. 3 things, that's too many. One thing. People are so ADHD with what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
There's just so much that's pulling for your attention. And don't think even your dream client, even if they see, and even if the the headline works and the promise works, but then they get down to it and it's like, download my 32-page ebook. It's like, well, that's great, but when am I going to do that? I already gave you a minute of my time to read the page. And I want to be able to read something in a minute because I got too many other things going on. And if it's
Well, they might download it, but they're not going to read it.
no, they're not. But if I can complete the entire transaction in under 5 minutes from start to finish, and even if it's not downloading it, click here or put your email in, click here for immediate access. I'm going to take you right to it. Instead of, well, it's got to be delivered and it went to my promotion and check your spam folder. I'm done there too. Somebody I met with last week, and he says, I saw his email twice and it was in my promotions folder. And I was like, well, I didn't get it. And I'm not sitting there saying, oh my God, unless it is so compelling, going back to Urco. It's so compelling. You got this problem. Here's my promise. I'm going to give it to you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where going to the dream client and what they need and understanding their languaging and giving them a solution right now that's going to help them move the needle, that's going to give them an ROI. I love Angel Hill for adding that because they got to know you, they got to like you, they got to trust you, but they got to get an ROI pretty quick, especially in this day and age of digital this. You do a search for anything for your problem, it's going to be 87 million results. I'm not making that number up. Whatever the problem is, do a Google search. You're going to find it. You're competing with so much. Do different, stand out from the crowd so that when you put together your page, the first thing they see is the desperate problem. Yeah, that's my problem. You're going to make me a promise. I got to get some training from Vanna on how to do this backwards or the weatherman. Show me some proof, whether it be your system, your process, your education, your experience. Your journey is proof. I started here. The first thing I ever did was a failure. The first speech I ever did, I stood with my hands next to my side for 8 hours because somebody told me. And that was ridiculous. And I used to use flip charts. And then I moved to this and that and that. And the Urco, what's the irresistible, risk-free, compelling offer? And it doesn't have to be something monetary. It could be as simple as, I'm going to give you this piece of advice. I'm going to give you this 1-minute video. I'm going to give you this tip. I'm going to give you this secret, this trick that's going to help you with fulfilling the promise. And why should I act now? You should act now because it's going to fulfill the promise and it's going to take away the problem you have. So please go do it now. Watch the video, read the thing, and you can do all this whole thing in under 5 minutes. That's my challenge to anybody watching live or on the replay. How can you get this whole process down in under 5 minutes? Because if I ask you for 5 minutes and I can tell you, look, I know you got this problem, and I promise I'm going to help you fix it. I've done it before, whether I have proof from people with testimonials or this is how I came to do this. We've done 115 shows, so we might know a little bit. We've read 100 books, 1,000 books. We've done this, that, and that. We've helped this number of people. And here's the offer I'm going to make you. I want to give you this thing that's my best thing, and I want you to do it right now. Don't put it off. Don't delay, because if you do put it off and delay, then you're not going to get the result, the promise that I'm giving you. So that puts all these 5 things together, all nicely in color, with the Shard Ragona Scott, Lorna Scott method.
Love it, man. Thank you. That was brilliant. Do you have, I mean, I'm just going to throw this out. You might have it up on your computer somewhere. Any example of what you just showed us that we could see it, or?
Oh boy, no.
No. Okay.
No.
I know. Can I throw it? This is like totally unscripted. That's what we do. The only insight I gave you for this show was like, hey man, just throw 5 tips on a piece of paper or whatever it was.
Hey, it took me hours just to do that.
Yeah. It was brilliant. So thank you for that, Scott. I appreciate that.
You. Yeah, thank you, Kay. I appreciate that. Again, Joey, it's what I love to do. It's one of my superpowers is to sit and look at something and just say, change this, do that. I thank Lisandro and everyone that participated in that for putting it out there. And too many things, and I'll put something together. I don't have anything now with Notify. I'm not as organized as you with Evernote and this and that and that.
I'm still not organized. I can
Well,
only just go find stuff. I'm not
well,
organized,
you
that's
can
for
go
sure.
find stuff. You know.
Yeah. The only reason the reason I'm asking is because I'm looking, or I'm thinking of what's the last two, which is like the proof and the go do it now thing. And just to give another perspective of it, because you and I remember we broke down my profit first
Right.
opt-in,
Yep.
and then I did the same thing. I've done it now for two other things. One is the content multiplier that gets the same 60% opt-in all the time.
Yep. Yep.
And what I found there was that I did the work of the proof and go get it now ahead of the landing page. So it didn't need that stuff on it. It was just like, here's the thing I'm teaching you. Do you want the cheat sheet of it or something like that?
Right.
So then by the time they got to the page, they were already pre-sold. And it was very easy to make the transition between, so it was reversing.
What I'll do, Joey, in the next couple of days, I will build one.
Yeah, build one. It would be amazing to see it.
On this, based on what we talked about as an example.
Yeah.
And I'll show each one of these pieces on a page. And one of the things we talked about too when we did the show on this that we just went live was it doesn't have to be a complex landing page.
Right.
We could simply do something in Google Docs. We could do something in Google Forms. There's so many free tools out there. The overwhelm of, well, I got to have a thing, and I got to have this, and I got to have the system, and I got to have an opt-in mechanism, and I got to have no. It's, again, you showed me and you taught me that, well, what if we just put it in a Google Doc and said, hey, go check out the Google Doc, and if it's something you like, click here thingy and contact me. It's like the Calendly thing and booking this and that. It's like, no, let's go back and forth, and if you're interested, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
So I will put something together that shows each of these 5 elements.
That'd be awesome.
On a landing squeeze page, and show it, and we can add it to the end of this.
Yeah, no, we just do another show on it, man. Just like part
we'll
2.
do another show on it.
Part 2, and here I built a page based on the thing we did last week. If we do it next week, whatever. And here's what the page looks like. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh my God. You mean we're like planning something advanced, Joey?
Yeah. Now we're getting professional.
Holy, that's kind of like Monica putting up the image yesterday and Petra doing a video. Who knows what's going to happen next week?
Yeah, exactly. Actually seeding the next show. Hey, maybe we'll just do this.
Pretty soon, like our tribe is going to be promoting the show for us.
We got affiliates all over the place.
We planned that 2 years ago, right? That one day we were going to burrow into their minds, and we were going to subliminally get them to start doing this for us so that we could sell high-ticket coaching on clarity and discovery calls.
Yeah.
No, it's great,
You're
Joe.
funny, man.
Thank you for asking me to do this. As you can tell, I love it because it's a superpower. It's what I started.
Yeah.
It started with writing direct response copy. Hi, Teen. Teen always changing her name and changing her look. Yes to next week's idea. Love
there you go. See? So I don't have to do anything between now and then, and I can dump it from my brain. So then next Tuesday.
3 weeks in a row you haven't had to do anything.
Right. So this is the whole part of remember I told you at the beginning of this year?
Joey, I'm out.
The beginning of this year was how do I pull myself get more freedom even.
More freedom, right. More freedom on Tuesday.
You take the show.
I don't even have to think about anything more. I was going to tell Scott to do something.
I just love being here with you, man.
Fine, I love it. Joey. It's not like I have to go do something. It's like, let me pull, just like you do. What am I doing today? Let me pull something from this. Yeah. I was reading this book and this happened. And I've got a bunch of books here that I'm going to start reading. I've got like 7 books I'm in the middle of playing with. And it helps to do this, to talk about it, because things come up. And then it's like, Teen gets on here and says, yes to that. Well, not marketing here, but Teen wants to learn this. Kay has learned some things. So now all of a sudden, just as an example here, we're talking about this, something that we're passionate about, that's a superpower. And we're finding out that people want to hear about this. They want to learn this. Why? Because it's going to help them. And I'm going to build this around this. So
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because this is where, when people are asking, like, how do I market, or how do I get out there, how do I nurture, how do I do all this kind of stuff, and I always reference this. I always reference the show, and our good friend Kajabi Megan has said so many times that that's what we do, is we go in here and we don't give a call to action. We haven't given a call to action as of yet. Don't worry, the shoe's not going to drop in the last 10 seconds.
10 seconds, quick, Joey, the call to action. Show them the landing page, put the link up. We're going to take it down at midnight on Sunday if they don't act now.
Yeah, but wait, there's more. Right?
The countdown timer,
none of that.
All that stuff. We're going to have to do a show on that.
Yeah, we should do a whole show just call to action cliche stuff.
God, that would, I don't think a whole show would be enough.
But where I was going with this is, before you rudely interrupted me, like as always. No, I'm kidding. Is
ding, sarcasm meter.
Anybody? Yeah, I need to get a sarcasm button thingy that comes up, and
please get that, and change my picture on the intro. It's
yeah. Why don't you do some work for a change and go do a new intro for us,
Mr. Technology? Okay. I did the music for it. You do the rest.
Will you let me finish my thought? So,
never.
For people that are watching this, it's like the audience is giving us feedback, and it's a feedback loop that you're looking for. So if you're looking for, what do I speak about? What do they want to learn? All this is what Scott just said, which is brilliant, because we'll look back now at the comments and the engagement and all the stuff throughout the shows and go, wait, that was a really good one. This was a little bit less. This, they liked a lot of there. There was comments here, comments there. And you just go with that. And that's how you build content or your superpowers around what your audience really wants to learn. So this is really important, is to step into what you love to talk about. Go and just go do it. You don't need to sell stuff. Just speak to people and help them out, and they'll respond or they don't respond. And if they don't respond, speak about something else. It's not that you failed. It's just like, okay, well, that one's really not maybe the most valuable, or maybe the most exciting for them, and you just keep going.
And I'm going to, as long as we know what we're going to talk about next week, what an interesting concept. Talk about pattern interrupt. I'm going to lovingly challenge everybody to bring their landing page, sales page, opt-in page, squeeze page. And Lisandro, going to challenge Lisandro to bring back next week what Lisandro's worked on. And take a look at them and implement what we're talking about, and take a look at them like we've done live. And that, again, talking about what you just said, well, there's a lot of people interested. Kay's made some changes. She's found value. A call to action show would be funny. And what do we have to include in that call to action show, Lorna? You know the answer. There's one really important thing in the call to action show. And I'm not going to say it because Joey's tired of me talking about it. But I'll let Lorna come up with that. But it's really important. Anyway, I'm not even going to say it.
She knows. Oh my God. Wow. It's amazing, man. So thank you for another hour of amazing content.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you for putting it together. And we are grateful for you as well. Kay, thank you. Thank you for everybody being here. Thank you for being here live. Thank you for being here on the replay on Tuesdays, as many times as you can make it. We are here until we're not. Like, that's just
Joey, we can now actually, in the group, here's another teaching point. Thank you, Petra. Yay! I wasn't going to say it, Joey. See? You can blame Petra again.
I swear I'm going to make those shirts. I swear.
Okay. What I want to use here is another learning experience. Here is, now we can talk about it in the group. Hey, here's what we're going to be doing on the show next week. For the first time ever, we're going to be telling you in advance what's happening. So bring your pages, bring your copy, bring your land and squeeze opt-ins, and we're going to talk about them. And we're going to take them apart. We're going to show you an example that I created, and then we're going to look at yours. And we're going to help you with yours. And then who knows what's going to happen from there. And all of a sudden, it's like all these people are interested in this important piece in starting the journey.
Love it.
And then all of a sudden it becomes a thing that wasn't a thing. And that's how we do what we do. That's how we find out what people want, is by putting it out there. Like if we did this and everyone was like, I don't care. But Teen's like, yeah, I definitely want that. And Kay is like, I'm changing it. I'll be there. And Lisandro, this and that. And everybody is like, I want to learn about this. Well, it must be a thing.
Exactly. because it's part of the process. It's like you can't not have landing pages, opt in. I guess you could do it, but it's very difficult.
Well,
That's
no,
one part of the process you can't.
you can't, even
Yeah,
again, if it's just a piece of paper, if
yeah,
it's just a Google Doc, there has to be something that you can direct them to, because people are going to say, well, what can I look at? What can I get? Well, go to here's a link to my Google Doc.
yeah.
Here's a link to my landing page. WordPress is free. You can go get Word. There's so much free stuff out there that you can start for nothing that doesn't cost you a penny to put up there. You start a blog, you start something, and just even if it's just a picture of a thing, it's a starting point. And even if there's crickets or goose eggs, it doesn't matter. It's a starting point to go to the next thing, to go to the next thing. If I
Exactly.
wanted to, sounds like a party, and for all that, celebrate Easter. Happy Easter, love us all. It is going to be a party. It always is a party.
Always. Every Tuesday night, we're here 7 o'clock Eastern time, and we'll do it again next Tuesday. And you already know what the topic is, which is landing pages. What do we call this? Whatever it
Landing
was.
page facelift, I think.
No, that was the thing you did inside the group,
Oh,
the landing
okay,
page
so
faceless. This was the
this
5 tips
is
to better landing pages or something like that.
Better landing pages. Good name after the fact.
It'll be
Name it. Now we have a thing.
it'll be part two.
Part two of how to craft a landing page that includes all the 5 elements and converts. There's a little bit of specificity there. That includes the 5 most important elements that needs to be in it that converts better.
We'll just call it an example. Well, you're going to give an example of it. You're going to give an example of it, and then you're going to also do live coaching on the stuff too.
I got to go actually build something.
Yeah, now you got to do some work.
Jeez, oh my God, I quit. I want out of my contract.
Love you, man.
Love you.
We'll see you next Tuesday. We'll see all of you next Tuesday. Thank you for being here. You are awesome. Join us in the tribe. Scott's there. He's awesome.